I was an agent for 9 months and then took the CIT role, and then nominating became important to me. And then I was doing it well and bringing in a lot of friends and things like that. And I'm like, why didn't I do this as an agent and earn the ABC bonus? Like, I'm a dum-dum. And so it really just hit me like a brick.
Welcome back to LA Legends, where Aflac pros sharpen skills, swap stories, and build the LA South market one legend at a time. Today's episode is a continuation of one of our most talked about conversations with one of our favorite guests. My name is Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. We sat down with Melissa Stewart to talk about growing sales teams through nominations, and the response was huge. So today we're back again, right? And we're picking up where we had left off, diving into some misconceptions around who can actually succeed in sales and how those beliefs impact how our teams are built.
Absolutely. So welcome back, Melissa.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. All right. So a couple quick ones. So we focused a lot on nominations. I'm sure we're going to talk about recruiting, nominations, and all of that. But there's a lot more to your Aflac story. You were a very successful district, region, agent. So we wanted to actually start pulling some best practices just from all of your experience at Aflac. So we wanted to start off with people in their first 90 days. So you in your role now, if you can talk to a brand new associate, they're just starting, just got contracted, what is some of the major advice that you would give them just starting this career today?
Yeah, I would say the biggest mistake I see people make is they try and reinvent the wheel immediately. Mm-hmm. And they think they know, well, this seems like a silly task, so I'm going to try it this way instead. And man, you got to fight that urge because this has been proven successful time and time and time again. And I always encourage new agents, if I'm asking you to do a task and you think it's stupid, ask me why. And I guarantee I can give you the science behind it. And maybe when you understand why we're asking you to do it, then you'll execute it at a greater level and with more confidence, because if you don't understand why you're doing it, then you are going to question it and you're not going to do it correctly. So just ask why. We're not telling you to do stuff for no reason.
That's huge. I mean, I think another one for leaders out there to think about is making sure that we're sharing the why behind things. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times, like, I didn't see it, and we can't always see the forest like through the trees. If you could have like told yourself, like, as a RSE or DSE, now that you're in this role, what's something that you would tell yourself of like, hey, do this a little bit differently?
This is going to sound super cliche, and I promise I genuinely feel this way. I would have nominated more as an agent. And I was an agent for 9 months and then took the CIT role, and then nominating became important to me. And then I was doing it well and bringing in a lot of friends and things like that. And I'm like, why didn't I do this as an agent and earn the ABC bonus? Like, I'm a dum-dum. And so it really just hit me like a brick. And I didn't even recognize until I was speaking at a market meeting, state meeting at the time, and somebody had said, who's here as a nomination? And I didn't even recognize myself as a nomination because the guy who nominated me wasn't an Aflac rep. But he did nominate me. And I didn't even connect those dots. Gary.
Good memory.
Labatt Blue drinking Gary. Yeah. So I'm like, man, I was shooting myself in the foot for those first 9 months of not capitalizing on one of the ways you can get paid in your first year.
Yeah. It's a big one. The person that nominated me, I made him take me out to sushi because they used to pay out quarterly at that time, and like I didn't sell that much, so like he got like, I don't know, like $750 every quarter, and we had sushi every quarter.
I love that.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
that's pretty funny. So, you and I had a conversation previously about misconceptions, right? Of just what we think, and I think this is where a lot of new associates and even DSCs of who can actually be successful, and it's simple as judging a book by its cover. Mm-hmm. So what do you think that the biggest myth when it comes to, when you see someone, you're trying to find that emotional connection that we talked about last time, to what a successful salesperson actually looks like?
You cannot, in my opinion, look at a resume and decide if somebody is going to be a good fit here. My resume was not impressive when I got here. Mm-hmm. If they had actually just read the resume and said, never mind, we're not pulling her in for an interview, life would be different. And I just think, we all know somebody within Aflac who's like a President's Club agent that you're also like, I would never buy a thing from that person.
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
you need to like diversify your team. And I think a big challenge that people have is they try to recruit people who are just like them. And that's not a team, you know, and you're going to get frustrated when they're not acting like you. And so it's really just being open-minded to the fact that you do not understand the person's grit, motivation, and determination until they're actually working here. And it was like a running joke with my team of if I called the district and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this person, they're going to be a slam dunk, they would fall flat on their face.
Yep.
And then the person that I was like, I don't know about them, they were the next fireball. And it was just like anytime I said I loved somebody, they were never good. So
I feel seen, because that same joke I guess happens in every regional office, because it's like we're like, this is the one, and then they were not the one.
Not the one.
Yeah, not the one. Many times.
It's as you were speaking, I was like, it's the same thing. I'm going to tie it back into our prospecting side of things, and our our recent guest we had, where he's like, did I go into every single door? No, he's cherry picking the ones he's walking through, versus walking through every door, or looking down and out like a driveway, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look like anything, and then hearing the district walks in and schedules an appointment and for the next day. It's the same kind of concept of like, stop judging just what you're seeing first surface level and walk through that door, or make that phone call to that resume, or ask that question.
Absolutely. I have a slide on that. And for my recruiting, I showed it yesterday, actually. And
that was awesome.
It's like, hey, do you appreciate it when your agents look at a building and say that they won't be interested? And we all have those stories, right? This woman, she came from a very, very small town, and she was like one of those people that's like, I know everybody, and very arrogant about it. And I'm like, okay, Bethany, let's see what we can do here.
Of course, it's Bethany.
Of course it was a Bethany. No, but I went to pull in. I always drove as the district because I wouldn't let them cherry pick. If they drove, they could cherry pick. And I pulled into a laundromat, like good old fashioned coin laundromat. And she's like, oh, nothing's going to happen in here because the girl's giving out quarters. She's not even old enough, and that's the only person that works here. And I was like, there's like 7 cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I can see through that glass, and there's not 7 people in there. So we went in, and come to find out, Bethany, who knows everybody, didn't know that the owner of the laundromat had another business, and it was below the laundromat, and they had 12 employees at 2 different locations, and we closed that group. And that little girl handing out quarters, she was 18 years old and already had a breast cancer scare. She bought more Aflac than anybody else in that building. So I was like, let's go, sister. Like, tell me who you do and do not know. Yeah. She didn't make it, shockingly.
Shockingly, yeah. But you got her a good sale. Yeah.
Got a good account there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You showed them that it's possible if you just let go our own preconceived notions.
Yeah.
So true.
And whether it's nominating or prospecting, you just have to do the work behind it, and you'd be surprised the results that you actually get. Like an account with 12 people and someone that you judged to actually sign up. So let's talk about some of those when we talk about individuals back to nominations, but background or skill sets that I think we tend to overlook and just but actually end up performing incredibly well in our industry.
Yeah, so super biased to it, and talked about this on the last episode, but the restaurant industry, I think that people in the restaurant industry, obviously they have people skills, they can work under pressure, multitask like a boss, you can handle all different types of personalities, and I think they have the ability to read people too, because if you're a good server or bartender and so you put food in front of somebody and they're, how's your dinner? And they're like, you're going to, what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Like, let me fix this problem. I also think teachers are excellent because it is a skill set to be able to control a room of people.
Yes.
And if we're presenting to a group of individuals, being able to see that nod of affirmation versus the confused dog look of, okay, did you see that look? You got to repeat yourself in a different way until you start getting that nod of affirmation to where they get it.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that skill set, like, how do you teach that? How do you train that skill set?
Sure.
And so teachers coming in, they have that ability immediately to do that. I think anybody from any sort of service industry, like nurses as well.
Yep.
You know, they naturally care. They want to
They're
help
empathetic.
somebody.
Yeah.
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 And they've
Work
seen it.
long hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've seen it. EMS people. We had a former ambulance driver, and he was like, we're trying to load them into the ambulance to save their lives, and they're like, I can't afford this. So just walking into that perspective of how important this insurance is, that was like mind blowing to me. Of like, oh wow.
Yeah, those are huge ones. I mean, the first thing that you said even on earlier was grit. So also trying to identify the industries and people that if they've been overlooked. I love a good underdog, underdog
Yeah.
stories. I mean, that's what gets me fired up as a sales leader as well.
Yeah.
And maybe the people that like just something didn't pay off, something didn't go right, and people forget this, but like even in our recruiting message or like how we're presenting ourselves as a human being, they'll gravitate towards you just by certain things that they can identify you with. So like, what were some of those identifiers that you would talk about early on and like in your story?
Yeah. I mean, I think that people skills and self-motivation is the thing I always just went after, and I feel like we can train everything else. But trying to find out what their motivation is, what's driving them, their why.
Yeah.
It is, we talk about it a lot, but keeping that in front of the person and them having the ability to hear you in that moment of, I mean, I had an I quit day every other day in my first year.
Yeah.
And I would call my boyfriend at the time and say, I would just start the conversation with like, ugh. He'd be like, what's up? Be like, ugh, this business owner just was rude,
Yeah.
If I think about my first year problems as compared to 18 years later, the challenges I hold today, I'm like, boy, I wish I had those problems again because they were a piece
Those
of
were
cake.
so great. Yeah.
Yeah. But they
Yeah.
felt heavy in the moment. It was
For
real.
sure.
And I would just vent for 2 minutes of what happened. And then he would have like a speech on repeat of, all right, well, do you want to go back to bartending and working nights, weekends, and holidays? And, you're 22, your knees hurt already. Like, you want to do that? No. Okay, back to work. Okay. Shake it off.
Yep. Shake it off.
And so I think that's like a good skill too. But again, how do you find that out until you're working side by side with somebody?
Yeah.
Are they going to sit there and cry in their soup and go home and curl up and go to bed, the first business owner that slams the door in their face? Or are they going to shake it off and say, I hope that person has a better day?
Yeah.
It's not personal.
No, it's not. And yeah, I think that you've definitely identified a lot of those. I personally, even for me, listening to you talk, I was thinking about some of the more successful people that made it inside of our region, and a lot of them were younger too, because they're just like, maybe they didn't like graduate college, and just like college wasn't for them.
Yep.
We had an 18-year-old that like was the rookie of the year, and he was 18 and didn't have a car
That's crazy.
in LA. I mean, but he wanted it. Like he was just like, I can't believe I have this opportunity. So those are huge ones. And yeah, they're actually fun to work with too.
Yeah.
Also going back to what you were talking about of certain salespeople that you're like, this is the one. I mean, sometimes you wonder like, oh yeah, there's a reason why this person's still out on the market or the job market. Like,
Right.
That's yeah. And there's sometimes a reason. So that, yeah, I guess that helps.
Let's talk a little bit about performance versus potential, and that kind of, once you get actually someone through, and then getting to know them and then their background. We talk about those rock stars or an individual who's 18 coming out in the workforce for the first time, and the hunger that they have trying to prove themselves in a space where, I remember when I first started, I was like, insurance, big round brown desk, right? And a guy in a
Mahogany
suit.
desk.
Mahogany
Yes.
desk, a guy in a suit, and like telling me how to be successful. And I was like, I don't look like you.
Yeah.
I don't talk like you. How do I actually, be able to still be successful in this career? And as we all are testaments to, like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Until you actually go through the work. So, How do you evaluate the potential in someone who doesn't have just a classic looking kind of resume?
Yeah. I think it's just time, experience, and listening to them, asking them deep questions. Like, as a region, one of my favorite questions to ask during the interview process was, I talked a lot about self-motivation during the overview. Share with me a situation or a story that you can brag on your self-motivation, like, and just try to find, and they would always, some people would have one on the tip of their tongue. Others would be like, professional, personal. I'm like, I don't care. Just tell me about a situation that you are self-motivated and you persevered and you pushed through. And the stories that would come out are amazing. And most of the time they were years prior and things like that. And, I think about myself growing up, I was homeschooled. So, and it wasn't for any like religious reason or anything like that. It was my mother decided when I was in second grade to pull my brother and I out of school. My brother was about to go to middle school, and she worked at like a children's shelter where if a CPS pulls a child from a home, it's like that in between. Are they going back to the family? Or are they going to foster care? So it wasn't the best families. So she found a knife in one of the kids' backpacks. And so and that kid was in middle school, and my brother was about to go to middle school. So she pulled us out and then homeschooled us. But so I didn't have the opportunity for like organized sports and things like that. And I was so motivated to just get out of my house and hang out with people. So I grew up in South Carolina, and they don't have like laws about working down there. At least they didn't when I was. So I was working full time at 14, and I couldn't get enough hours because that was my fun. That was my get me out of the house. I'm making friends. I'm making money. This is awesome. And I genuinely enjoyed it. So I feel like my grit came from that.
Yeah.
Work was fun for me.
Yeah.
Couldn't get enough of it. And I like nice things.
That does help too.
That helps.
Yeah, that does help.
Yeah. So, bougie lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. I actually started working when I was 14 too, because I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, they give you money to like do this. This is unbelievable. And like,
it's fun.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like making money. Okay, so to digress for a second, want to pull back because we have been going in recruiting. I want to kind of go in this like, I don't know, networking type space too, because as a regional sales coordinator, I'll say it, broker is a huge part of things too, but that's a lot of the broker conversations I had ended up becoming actually leading into nominations and ended up leading into networking, driving a lot of business.
Do you want to distinguish yourself from everybody else in the competition? Do you want to get the absolute best buyers in the country? Do you want to close more accounts than anybody else in the market? Well, use Elevations.
I loved networking, huge fan. If you're not doing it, do it. And there's things you can do for free, right?
Yeah.
There's like Rotary clubs, Kiwanis clubs, things like that. Those that you can do for free. But chambers of commerce, BNIs, those are the classics. But
They always have the free event too.
Yeah, they do. And you can always go visit a BNI twice before you commit to it. Because certainly in our business, you don't want to commit to a BNI that's filled with sole proprietors, like a massage therapist, a chiropractor, and a Reiki person all just giving each other money inside a BNI. That's not the group for you.
No,
so
not helpful.
And so, I think with networking, how I got my team to do it was I would just take them with me. And so it was, I would make certain that I was, there's no point in being involved in something if you're not going to show up. So it was on my calendar. It was a priority. And every time I went, I would take another person from my team and just be like, watch how to network. And I want you to challenge yourself to go get 5 business cards. Don't get comfortable with one person in the corner and just stand there with your plate of cheese and crackers and be awkward. Like push yourself out of your comfort zone and go shake some hands. And just making them do it. And then once they did, they found it was valuable, and then they would just do it themselves.
finish line is in sight, and this is your moment to shine. Every new account, every sale, every relationship built brings you closer to the LA Legends winner circle. It's more than recognition. It's proof you've turned goals into greatness. So push hard, finish strong, and earn your place amongst the best. LA Legends winner circle. Close this like a champion.
So, like, inside of your team, looking back, what percentage would you say came from, let's talk about accounts for a second. So what came from networking, what came from canvassing, what came from phone calls, what came from broker referral?
Yeah, I would say most of our groups came from good old classic canvassing.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I taught the team, if you don't want to cold call the rest of your life, you got one option, and that is you do your job extremely well so that in your wrap-up meeting after the enrollment, you can sit with that employer and say, here you go, Johnny business owner, we signed up 60% of your people and we saved you X amount of dollars in tax dollars by offering these additional benefits. Could you do me a favor and could you provide me with a professional review? Was there anything I could have done professionally to improve this experience? You're not going to hurt my feelings. Please be honest. And you get one answer or the other.
Yeah.
If it's negative, that's your opportunity to grow. Fix it. And then don't do it again. If it's positive, they just teed you up to ask for an introduction referral. And how on earth do they say no after they just told you how amazing you are?
Yeah.
So it's like, could you introduce me to ABC company next door? I would love to make Sally my next client. Can you walk me over right now? And that was such a rock solid way to get referrals. So nobody on the team could really complain about cold calling and canvassing. It was like, okay, if you don't want to do it, then just level up your game and stop making mistakes. Don't show up late. Make sure everything is on point so you can get that introduction referral from the business owner. And so we did get a lot of referrals. And then I would say networking and broker were mainly driven by the coordinators. But, again, we did bring the agents with us on the networking a lot.
I first off love that. You made networking scalable. The professional review part, I love that. I love the language professional review. The second thing is, and I think that we shy away from this because sometimes we're like, oh, we don't want our new associates to get their feelings hurt or something like that. They need feedback. The quicker the feedback comes, the faster that they're going to know, and it's going to either generate money or it's not. And that's so I love that idea.
Yeah, I think that if you really want to grow, like there's no comfort in growth. If you're comfortable at the gym, you're doing it wrong.
Yes.
If
Correct.
you're like in sales for the first time and you're comfortable throughout your day, you're doing it wrong. And so it's like, I would rather somebody tell me the truth to my face than me lose that account 3 months later because there was something they were unhappy with and I never even gave them the opportunity to tell me about it.
Yeah. There's no comfort in growth. I love it. Okay, one final tactical one, and then it's kind of crazy. We're already almost coming towards rapid fire because it goes so fast with you. What about teeing up the referrals? How did you guys tee them up? How did you guys train that? How did you guys approach them?
Yeah, so very similar to what I just mentioned of just making sure they did everything correctly because I'm like, you can't ask that question for the professional review if you showed up late and you fumbled over your words and
were
you
disheveled.
Yeah. And so it was always a lot about preparation. And I'm a big believer that if you do things right up front, which is going to take you more time, the long game is going to be more positive.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to have less errors on the back end. So we had like this checklist that for opening a new account, steps to securing a new account, we called it. And it was like, follow all these steps and then you're good.
Yeah.
There's no chance that you're going to forget something that you're going to like, don't be a hero. We've got,
Don't be
like,
a
what are
hero.
you doing? What award do you win by memorizing things? Like, just use a checklist and make sure you don't skip a step.
You're definitely speaking our love language with that checklist.
A system,
yeah,
a process.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
love a system.
Yeah. What would they when they got the referrals? Would they go in person first? How did they?
Yeah. I mean, the best referrals were like that walk me next door introduction referral. Then I loved, notes of introduction. Those are still a thing.
Yeah.
I see them out on your table.
Yeah.
But I loved just taking, okay, if you can't walk me next door, can you take your business card?
Yes.
Johnny business owner, and
that.
write a note to Sally business owner on my behalf, and I'll just take that over and give it to her. And then we would never give it to anybody but that actual business owner. So if the receptionist's like, no, I'll take it, I'm like, nah, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Not even, don't let it out of your death grip. And so that was a really rock solid referral. And then, we did canvassing referrals too, like, oh, we're drumming up business. Can you, do you know the owner's name next door? Those are not as strong, of course, but you can wordsmith that in your favor of, oh, we were just talking to so-and-so over there, and they said that, they gave me your name and I wanted to introduce myself. So it sounds like a referral.
It works. Yeah. I mean, we've, of course, we're always checking the national do not contact list every moment, but
100%.
But one time we went into a business, but you could sometimes go into an existing account and still use a business card introduction.
Absolutely.
Even on the fly of being like, hey, would you mind me grabbing one of your business cards? So, you can introduce me to Sally.
Yeah.
Because you're already in great hands.
100%.
Yeah. So, awesome. All right, Michelle, we're already in rapid fire mode.
I know.
This is crazy.
Time is flying.
Crazy.
Okay. So, what have you done, or what have you, like a book you've read this year or a podcast that's actually been making an impact? And I know we're only a couple months into the year, but what has actually impacted your life so far?
Yeah, I would say, and I read it last year, but Let Them, Mel Robbins.
That's a great book.
That, I think it's kind of common sense when you think of just even the title of the book, but the scenarios and stories that she talks about in it, it's like, man, I'm doing this with my child even of, oh, I'm going to plug in her iPad for her because she forgot to do it. No, let her feel the pain of having no battery in her iPad for 5 minutes while she has, she's going to figure it out. So like it just simple stuff like that. But when it comes to business, I think I'm an extreme ownership type person. So I think Jocko wrote that book, and that damaged me a little, honestly, because I have a hard time letting people fail. And so Let Them undid what Jocko did with my extreme ownership mentality of, if somebody on my team makes a mistake, at the end of the day, that's my fault. I'm the leader. And so that put a lot of pressure on me and a lot of stress. And then Let Them kind of unraveled that a little bit of, sometimes the best way for them to learn is that they fail and they get embarrassed and they don't want that feeling again. So then they're going to get better. So the more I kept saving people, it was hurting me.
Them. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it hurts you and it's not helping them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting one. I feel like as a RSC, you do want to actually own that because it's like you've seen them from, when they were like a little embryo.
Yeah.
Like in your information session and you're like, no, like I love you and I want to protect you. But no, it's one of those that when you're in different roles, and it's not something that everybody has the opportunity to have, but when you get to zoom out of our business, you're like, oh yeah, you need to let them fail. Like like it's so good for them, and they're gonna hug you at the end of it, and let them, let them. It's a that's fantastic, and that's a great book recommendation. Okay, so for me, this is a old school one for us. Is the billboard question. So I'll do the Michelle Lee version. What's the biggest highway that near your house?
It's called the Northway. It's Route 87.
Okay, Route 87. So if you could have Route 87, a big billboard, and people drive by it, and it's specifically for Aflac people, and it could be a message, it could be a symbol, it could be something to live by, what would your billboard say?
Follow the plan, trust the process, and do not stop.
Do not stop.
Put in a full day, an honest full day.
It feels good when you do that honest full day too. It does feel good.
Yeah.
It feels different than when we lie to ourselves. Yeah.
stopping for coffee 6 times during the day and pretending you're working in a full commission position is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I've been that dumb guy.
I have too.
I've
done it.
I've done so much of that.
And it hurts at the end of the day. You're like, what did I just do
and
to
I was
myself?
like, I was planning, and it's like you scouting out locations or something.
I need to get organized.
I
There
have
you go.
one more question.
Yeah.
Got to change these up.
I like it.
So, what is one thing people might find surprising about you?
Yeah. I love that. So I have, and this circles back to this whole conversation. Because I was homeschooled and grew up in South Carolina, we moved to New York when I was 16. I was already done with school, and my mom just failed to do the proper paperwork in South Carolina because we had moved. It was like too late, can't go back or whatever. New York wouldn't honor any of the schoolwork. So I got my GED. And then I went to college because there was like I could Billy Madison it.
Yeah,
Where I'd have to take every test from the second grade on, or I could take my GED and go to college. And I'm like, well, I'll go to college.
Yeah,
like
I'll
this
do
is
that.
dumb. So I went to college. I got an associate's degree in math. I went for engineering physics. Really bizarre, right?
Nice.
Now I'm here using that every day. and then I dropped out of I was one semester away from my bachelor's in math to join AFLAC.
Wow.
And I initially thought that would be a mistake, and I also thought I would go back, but I don't think I need to.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she dropped out of law school, and I think that, that's...
Yep.
I can't imagine if I stuck it out.
Yeah. That'd be
Me
crazy.
today.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Anything else that you want to leave our team with? Any final message or anything like that you...
Yeah, I love these podcasts. I think if you are listening to one, put it in your calendar to listen to one every single week, because this is rock solid stuff. And I listened to a couple of them, and it's so fun, but it's so nice to, like, there's some of these stories I just thought of today that I haven't thought of in years. And to get that information from people who have made it in this business, I think that's really fantastic of you two to provide this source for your team. And I think, best thing they can do is utilize the things that are being given to them.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. We'll pay you later for that one. And perfect. Yes. Okay, fantastic. All right. You know what? I'm going to let you close up shop.
Okay. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us on the LA Legends. If this episode challenged your thinking, share it with someone building or joining a sales team. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your team, and we'll see you guys on the next one.